Alright, hello everybody. We're going to be solving some multi-step equations today, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So first we'll start off with an example where we have all positive numbers. So imagine I have something such as 5x plus 3 is equal to 23. Now, the goal of an equation when you're solving for x, is to get the x by itself. Now, we can't just subtract this 5 away because it's attached to this x by multiplication. So we need to isolate this term right here. And remember that the pieces of the equation include the operation in front of them. So this positive is attached to the 3 here. We're going to save this piece for last, and we're going to do this one first. So to get rid of a positive 3, we subtract 3, and whatever we do on the left side of the equation, we have to do on the right side of the equation. We'll keep it lined up. We'll draw our line underneath, and now we're working horizontally. There's nothing underneath the 5x, so we're just going to drop it down. A positive 3 and a negative 3 will cancel out. The equals drops down, and 23 subtracting 3 is 20. Now the next thing we do is isolate the variables still. So I think this is 5 times x, so I can get rid of that 5 by dividing by 5 on both sides. Remember, whatever we do on one side, we do on the other side. 5 divided by 5 is 1. We can just write that as 1x. We won't even write it. And then 20 divided by 5 is 4, and now we're done. Now if we want to check our work, we can take this answer right here, plug it into our original equation. It looks like this. Now does 5 times 4 plus 3, is that equal to 23? 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3. And 23 does indeed equal 23. Okay. Now imagine that we have a little bit more complicated version where we've got a negative on this equation here. And imagine it looks like this. We got negative 7 is equal to negative d over 6 plus 12. And now the variables on the right hand side here, I don't see any other ones. We've got a negative in front of it. We're going to do the same thing. Remember that this sign belongs to this term, and this operation here belongs to this term. And obviously that must belong to the 7 since he's all by himself over there all lonesome like. Okay? Remember, we saved this piece for last, and we have to undo this positive 12 first. So we're going to subtract 12. Whatever we do on the right side, we must also do on the left side. I'm going to draw my line, and now I'm going to be working horizontally. Negative 7 subtracting 12, well, it's getting more negative. So that is negative 19. We're going to line up our equals here, and then there's nothing underneath this negative d divided by 6, so I'm just going to carry it down, and this positive 12 and the negative 12, they cancel each other out. Now, I've got a division underneath my variable, so to undo division, I use its opposite, which is multiplication. But look, I've got this negative right here, and I have to account for that. Now, I know that a negative times a negative will make it a positive on this side, so I'm going to just use that. That will cancel out this 6 and this 6, and this negative will kind of cancel each other out. We'll drop down our equals, and then we're left with a d here, and then 19 times 6, well, 19 times 6 is 54. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 5, which is 11. 1, 1, 4. 2 negative, so it just stays a positive. Just like Pitbull. Okay. Now, let's look at one more example here before I cut you loose to work. Now, imagine I've got this crazy looking fellow here. C minus 5 over 4 equals 3. Oh boy. We got this weird fraction looking thing here. So, now, to get rid of the denominator, I am going to multiply by this 4. And when I multiply this side, I also have to multiply this side to keep my equation balanced. So it looks like this. Multiply by 4, multiply by 4. Now, when we multiply, we can simplify before we multiply. This 4 and this 4 on the diagonals will cancel out with each other, turning into a 1. And that just leaves this piece here. That's the c minus 5. Drop down my equals and keeping it lined up. 3 times 4. That is 4, 8, 12. Now I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Draw my line. Nothing underneath the c, so it drops down. These cancel out. The equals, we'll keep it lined up, and 12 adding 5 is 17. I hope that helps out, and do your best today.